Hey everybody, and welcome to the video where I will give you my honest opinion on Assetto Corsa EVO. Now, I've played the game for like 10 hours already on 2 streams, so I think I have a pretty good idea of where the game stands so far. Now, before I get into it, I just want to give a big disclaimer. This is early access, so the game is not fully finished. We all bought the game early just to see how it plays, and yeah, so we can give you an idea of what to expect when you buy it. Now, there will be content added over time from Kunos. They gave us a really nice roadmap so we can know what to expect in the future, but so far the content, if you're looking to buy it as a fully fledged game, the content is pretty scarce. But it's gonna get better. So, big disclaimer, early access. I'm gonna give the cons first because there's a lot of them, and then I'm gonna give you the pros, just to end up on a positive note. So, first of all, the game was supposed to launch at 4 p.m. my time, if I remember correctly, and it was almost an hour late. So, there was some issue on that part, but once we got it, we downloaded it, it started all good. Now, the first thing I noticed personally is in every marketing campaign, every marketing ad or whatever, they always told us 5 tracks and 20 cars. And when I went to the car list, we basically had 6 cars. I was really surprised to notice that we're missing more than half of the cars, and I wasn't sure if it's some marketing tactic or what's going on, but it turns out most of the cars were just tied to online mode, probably tied to the progression of your driver profile or your driver academy and stuff like that. So normally you wouldn't be able to use most of the cars straight away. You have to unlock them with the or rent them or whatever. But there was an issue with the online mode. At the time of recording of this video, it still has not been fixed. But they gave us a really quick patch, version 0.11, where they allowed us to use all the cars despite being in offline mode. So that's a positive thing. So we were able to at least test all the cars before they bring the online mode back, which they still haven't done when I'm recording it on Saturday. But I'm hoping it's gonna come soon, because there's still quite a few features locked behind the online mode, such as your driver profile, your driver academy, which I'm really interested in, and your car customization. So I'm looking forward to test those, but so far we don't have them. When they enable the online mode, I am going to be streaming the game for sure, just to see all those features. Now, on to more technical issues. I had an issue where I wanted to bind my H-shifter to the correct gears, and I drove a manual in real life, so I know I did not bound them incorrectly. But when I went into the game, basically my gears were like switched a little bit. So my 3rd gear was my 4th gear, my 4th gear was my 5th gear, etc. And I reset them like 4 times, I think. But they kept getting switched around for some reason. And then I got a message on chat, on the stream chat, to just not bind the 7th gear, which for some reason helped the issue. When I bound only 6th gear plus reverse, it worked. Scrolling in the menu is really slow, and the UI in the menu and in the game overall is pretty bare bones. So I know it's early access, and they're probably gonna work on that. One annoying bug is that I cannot limit the HUD to a certain margin from the size of the screen. Basically, on the stream, you see a little bit less than I see in the game, and I cannot limit the HUD to stay where the stream is. And I can move those elements manually with the mouse, but every time I restart the game, those elements go back to their original positions. And I had to restart the game quite a few times, so it got pretty annoying that every time I restarted, I had to manually move those elements again. Car sounds are really good, but a bit inconsistent. Some cars sound really fantastic, but some cars sound not very fantastic. And sometimes the cars that do sound fantastic have little quirks with them. Like, for example, the Audi has a launch control, which when you just hold it, it sounds really good. But when you release it, it just does something to the sound where it just doesn't feel quite right. And also I've been told that some cars have not the most accurate engine sound as opposed to real life. So I'm not an expert on that in that regard, so I'm just gonna take the word of people who I think are. So I think there's still some work to be done with the sound. Maybe we just have some placeholders for the early access. So we'll see in the future how it looks. Now, damage model for the cars is very minor. Basically, it's very hard to destroy your car. It's possible, but even when you slam into a wall, most likely you will be able to drive the car still. There is some damage you can do, and you can get bent steering if you really hammer it in, but it's really difficult to do. Also, there is no visual damage, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna come a bit later. Also, you cannot damage your engine. I basically money shifted from 5th gear to 1st. The engine went crazy, but after I stopped and got going again, I could still easily drive it, so I don't think you can damage your engine so far. Also, there was a little bug where I was driving on wet Imola with the Ferrari Challenge, and basically when I went over the crest and I turned to the right, the car went straight because the wheels for some reason locked up, as if I don't know, I had a puncture or something. I don't know if there are punctures in the game even, but there was some weird thing going on with the car. Force feedback is a little bit inconsistent from car to car. Overall, force feedback feels really good, but when you go, for example, to Mercedes AMG GT2, the force feedback is really violent. It has a lot of detail, a lot of movement, and it's really strong. But then you go to, for example, BMW M2 CS, and it's really soft. When you drive on the straight, there's basically no like detail in the wheel, no bumps or anything. So I was even questioning if Suzuka, which is where I tested the M2 CS on, is even laser scanned, because it felt really butter smooth, really flat on the straight. So I wasn't sure if it's just a force feedback thing or not, but I tried other cars and there was detail in the road, so it is laser scanned. It's just that some cars are really, I don't know, dampened or just lack the detail. I don't know if it's on purpose. Maybe it's done like that to simulate power steering in the car. But if it's not, then maybe there's something to find there, maybe for Kunos to look at, so maybe we can get a better force feedback. Overall, it does feel good. Also, what I would love to see is a little bit more options for force feedback. If we would be able to get more sliders, for example, road effects or curb effects and stuff like that, and maybe a little bit more feedback in the wheel when you lose the rear of the car, that would be really good. Overall, it feels good, but there is room for improvement still. Also, small issue for me, because I am a Lock to Horizon enjoyer in ACC, or I used to be until recently. Lock to Horizon doesn't seem to work in the dashcam view. It works in the helmet view or whatever it's called, but in the dashcam view, which is mainly what we use in the ACC, it does not work. But despite that, if they could implement a camera or a camera movement that's akin to real head motion app for ACC, that would be really sweet. Also, in the wet, it was quite difficult at times to know where the limit of grip is, especially with the front tires. Sometimes you could just turn in the corner that's wet, and it was just not a lot there to tell you if you're on the limit of grip when you're steering, or if you're already scrubbing too much, or what's going on. There's still a little bit of improvement to be made when it comes to wet weather FFB, I feel like. Now, on to the biggest issues of at the EVO so far, right? When you go into the setup, you change something, then you go back and you get a message. Do you want to apply or discard because you haven't saved it? If you press discard and then you go to drive, your car basically gets launched underground and the whole game engine crashes. And basically then you have to just restart the game, because even if you manage to go back to the main menu, which is possible, even the main menu, like garage area, is broken. It's basically black screen, you cannot do anything. So in most cases you just have to restart the game, which is pretty annoying. Now, I tried it yesterday on Friday and it didn't do the bug, so maybe they silently patched it out, or maybe I was just lucky, or maybe it's tied to something else. But from what I've seen, it's tied to you discarding the setup, and then it's happening. I don't know if they fixed it already. Yesterday I did not have that bug, but it might still be there, just so I want you to know what's causing it. Now, the biggest issue by far for me was the optimization. Now, I don't have a bad PC. I am multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube, but I was able to multi-stream Le Mans Ultimate on ultra graphics, no problem. And with Assetto EVO, I was struggling big time. I basically spent the whole first day just tweaking graphical options just to see what's working, and I just couldn't get the game to work as smoothly as I would like it to work. I basically settled after day one on medium settings, no anti-aliasing, no DLSS because it doesn't really do anything, and I had to change my streaming settings just to get a little bit more performance. And with that change, the day 2 of streaming Assetto EVO was a lot better. But still, I have a 4070 Ti and 5800X3 was it CPU, so it's not a bad PC and way better than the recommended specs on Steam tell you to get. So I should not be struggling as much streaming that game to 2 platforms when I can do the same thing with Le Mans Ultimate on ultra graphics and it works completely fine. So for me, the game optimization and FPS and everything is the biggest issue. Now, while you are solo on the practice track, it works fine, but as soon as you add AI, it's just starting to struggle. Sometimes you can go from 120 to 50 FPS even when you add a lot of the cars. And even in practice, solo sometimes, you get that weird stuttering that I'm not quite sure what it's tied of because it's inconsistent. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But what's consistent is the stuttering intervals. It's basically, the game basically is stuttering every 5 seconds. I don't know what's causing it. I've been trying to diagnose it. Not everybody gets that, or maybe not everybody notices that. But I noticed that, and to me it's annoying, and I'm pretty sure it's not my PC. So I don't know what to do with that. I hope they have a look. I think a lot of more people reported it on Discord from what I've seen. So I hope they give it a look and maybe they find the issue and fix it because it's pretty damn annoying. In terms of game crashes, in 5 hours of playing, I got 1 game crash. And more engine crashes from the setup bug, but the game closed itself once only in 5 hours of playing. On Friday, on day 2 of streaming, I don't think I had a single crash, so it's not bad. But I've known people that have reported more crashes, so it is an issue still. But as I said, early doors, early access, all that jazz, I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix that. Also, I just remembered there were some weird things happening with the cars. Sometimes, besides the fact that when my Ferrari Challenge decided to lock front wheels for no reason, I had one moment when I wanted to change brake bias on a Porsche Cup car on Brands Hatch, and the whole ignition just shut off. And then I re-enabled the ignition, and the car wouldn't start. I had to turn it off and on again, and then the car would start. So it was quite bizarre. So I don't know what caused it. I checked on the stream yesterday that on the VOD that I basically started the race with the dash off. So it's like I started the car but the ignition wasn't on, and then I think as soon as I changed something, some electronics in the car, I think then the state of the ignition updated again in the game and it just cut the whole car off. Really bizarre. But yeah, that's one of the things that can happen as well, I guess. But for the bad things about the game, I think that covers it. I think that's basically it. Now, let's have some positivity here, and let's go to the pros, right? Now, despite the usual Kunos fashion, we actually did get a roadmap, and so we can know what to expect in the future for Assetto EVO. And yeah, it's available to everybody. I think it's even on the website. But when you launch the game, you get this big, nice roadmap just to tell you what to expect, which is nice. We love to know what to expect, roughly where the content drop will be. So I really like that they've given us some rough idea of what's coming. Overall driving motor is really strong. Now, I might even say it's better than AC1. Despite FFB being sometimes inconsistent, overall driving model is really good, especially when it comes to weight transfer in the car and the car movement on the ABS and how the tires work, and the suspension is, compared to ACC, which is what we've driven mostly, my god, what a change. You can basically yeet most of the curbs and the car does not explode. So I am so happy to be able to ride curbs on Imola. Sometimes on Imola you can even cut it too much and it's sometimes maybe too good. But I'll take too good over a car exploding over curbs anytime, honestly. Visually, the game looks absolutely phenomenal. I wish I could run it on Ultra. I'm pretty sure if they optimize it correctly, I will be able to, but for now, I'm stuck on medium settings. But the game, even on medium, looks pretty damn good, especially when you do day to night or night to day transition, and you get that sunset, sunrise stuff, and the lighting, the sound, it just looks, so good. Especially, also, at night, in Suzuka, when you go to the SS, you have those floodlights on the side of the track, and they have that nice, realistic effect with the lighting, and it looks so good. I'm really a big fan of it. The game looks really good, and I love that the night is properly like dark. If you're on the straight and there's no external lights and you turn the lights off, it's pitch black, which is fantastic. I love it. I hope if they implement damage model, you can like get some front damage and your lights don't work and you have to drive completely in the dark and you just have to guess where you're going. That would be so cool though, but very dangerous. So I don't know, that would be so cool to do. Also, when it comes to drivability, I think we might have a game that finally did front wheel drive cars well. Now, it's a really difficult type of car to make in the sim and make it work well. But I drove, I think, all the cars in the game, and the front wheel car drives feel as I would expect a front wheel drive car to feel like on the track. You have that understeer and the movement, and sometimes the wheel snap, but if you put the throttle down, it straightens itself out, and the force feedback, I think it translates it really well. So I think they made it work quite nicely. The only thing I need now is for Kunos to speed up a little bit, give us more content, get the online going, and give us multiplayer. This is what we really need. We need that multiplayer experience just to see how the netcode behaves and everything like that, how the crashes work, and basically how the multiplayer is going to work server wise, and if we do get like custom servers, or do we get like scheduled servers like in Le Mans Ultimate, for example. I don't know, we don't know anything so far. So that's about it. I think I've covered mostly everything I've noticed when streaming it for 2 days in a row. Now what I'm basically waiting on right now is for them to bring online mode so we can test the driver academy and customization and all that jazz. And next content drop, I think we get a few more cars and Fuji Speedway, which we don't have in ACC, so it's gonna be for most of us a new track. I've driven it in Le Mans Ultimate and it's a really good track. I don't know how it's gonna drive with road cars, but it's probably gonna be fine for sure. And I'm really waiting for that multiplayer to come. We really need to test it and maybe host some community races with the Jari lads. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for me. If you have any questions about AC EVO, be sure to drop them in a comment. If you enjoyed my little overview and my list of what they can improve, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of that. And yeah, basically see you on the next stream. Take care. Bye bye.